Well, I believe that the unchecked capitalism that we've been having for the last 40 years hasn't worked for 90% of Americans. But what we know is we also have to harness the innovation and competitiveness of the private sector that has driven the dynamism of the American economy for hundreds of years. But in order to harness that dynamism, we're going to have to break the corporate stranglehold on our democracy, and we're going to have to get back to investing in the American people. That's what the government's for. That's the best investment we can make in the future, and we've gotten away from it. So those two things, break the corporate stranglehold on the democracy and invest in the American people, are critical changes for what we're doing now, Carl.
Wealth tax, Tom, people are going to say 1%, even over 32 million, is redistribution, classic socialism.
Well, let me say this. If you look at what's happened since 1980, Carl, working Americans haven't had a raise. That's 2 generations of working people who haven't had a raise when you take into account the increases in health care, the increases in rent, and the increases in education. So when you talk about redistribution of money, excuse me, for 40 years, we've been redistributing the money in the United States to the top 1%. When you talk about a tax on those assets, that is not the first redistribution. We've seen a dramatic redistribution of the money in the United States away from 90% of the people over 40 years. That's redistribution of wealth.